welcome back to the 20th Century Dude channel. Today we are going to be looking at my CD collection, and I'd say we have a pretty good handful, and this is not the first time I've done this, but I've actually was going to make a video on my DVD and Blu-ray collection instead. However, considering how vast and quite honestly too many there are to count right now, I'm literally going to have to spend an entire day working on that, which I don't exactly have at the moment. What I could do instead is my compact disc collection, which I will show off. Mostly I will show off stuff that's like, official releases from companies and soundtracks and whatnot. There are a few in there that I personally have made myself, whether it's like, I guess what you consider a mixtape or an album. I burned the disc. Downloading the songs from the internet and all that kind of process, don't tell no one. But anyway, I guess we should find out where to begin. And honestly, you know what? Let's begin with Genesis, because, in the beginning and all that stuff. This is when Phil Collins took over. This is the Abacab album from, I want to say, it's 1981, so that's earlier than I thought it was. I thought it was like 83 or 84, but yeah, this is Abacab. I think that was worthy of a pickup. And I guess it also makes sense to continue on with some Phil Collins. This is his first solo album, Face Value. Considered among many fans, of course including myself, to be one of his best. And this is an interesting one. This only has 6 songs on it. This is called the 12 Inchers, which were the longer versions of some of his singles, like Take Me Home, Sussudio, and Don't Lose My Number. And I think what they meant by 12 inch, correct me if I'm wrong, it was the record that it was on. So the normal 45s, I think, only held up to like 5 minutes per side or per song. And once you get the 12 inchers, it was completely, longer, and you could hold more songs on there, or a longer length. So this is what this is. Going in a completely different direction, we have some disco stuff. This is one of 3 CDs I picked up at a flea market called the Seal Barn that happens every Wednesday morning during the summer where I live. So we get a whole mix of disco titles, and I believe with the last 2 titles, for whatever reason, every time there's a bonus track, the disc just sort of stops working. I don't know why that is, but that's just a thing, I suppose. So I guess next time I want to listen to these, when I do put them in, I'm going to have to be careful of that. So, yeah. And I know this one's going to be a rather gross entry. It is the soundtrack to Star Wars The Last Jedi. And I know what you're thinking. Yeah, I hope that was a very good vomit sound effect. I got this like right before the movie came out, I believe, or right before I went to see it. Which was a pretty nice gift at the time. I mean, it is John Williams. I can't refuse John Williams. But, I mean, it is The Last Jedi, and I think we all know how that movie turned out. So, I think this is going to be one of those cases where the soundtrack is, of course, better than the overall movie, and, I mean, I still have this. I will keep it for the sake of John Williams, but, the sequel trilogy as a whole, I think we know it's garbage. The sequel trilogy, I don't even consider it canon, anymore to the overall Star Wars saga. I'm even thinking of getting rid of my sequel trilogy DVDs just so there's room on the shelf for something I actually consider to be worthwhile. But I still have this soundtrack. And a soundtrack to a much better score and movie for The Phantom Menace, which I know for some of you is still a divisive movie. But this is actually the first Star Wars movie I watched. I know you're supposed to start with 4. That was 12 years ago. I was young and stupid then. I didn't know any better. But now we know why we start with 4 instead of episode 1. course, we get a, oh, that's right, this like folds up like that, so that's pretty nifty. In regards to what you think of the movie, how does the score not kick butt? Because it does. This is a pretty awesome score. The prequels were definitely awesome when it came to Star Wars score. So I like that I have this CD Episode 1 because it kicks butt. And up next, we're going to move on to some Michael Jackson. I mentioned about stuff I burned from the internet onto a blank disc, and this is an example of that. This is the Bad album. It's not bad, it's just his album called Bad that I made to CD. This is not an actual release, this is just something I made myself. As far as stuff I didn't make myself, this one does not have a cover. Might have lost it at some point. This is his Off the Wall album from the 70s. Contains some familiar hits, if I can actually get this thing open. Here we go. You know, Don't Stop Till You Get Enough, Rock With You, She's Out of My Life, Burn This Disco Out. You know, it's some of the stuff we've heard before and whatnot. So this is his Off the Wall album. This used to be my mother's. This is from, I want to say it was 2001. This is his Invincible album. So this would have been new music at the time. Maybe not as good as some of his older stuff, but it's alright. Like, I'll listen to it occasionally. And you can see here the cover's a little cracked too. That just tends to happen over time. And up next, how about some U2? Because why not? So here we have the Joshua Tree album. For many people, this is considered their best album. My personal favorite is The Unforgettable Fire. I'll have to go dig that out somewhere. And I got this on Marching Band Spring Trip years ago. I don't think this is at New York. I forget where were we at. I think it was my 3rd or 4th year in band. So, yeah, this is the Joshua Tree, and I will go grab The Unforgettable Fire. Okay, so I hate it when this happens, but apparently I've been digging for something for 30 minutes that was right in front of my face the whole time, but we have it now. So this is the Unforgettable Fire album, my favorite album from U2, and I'd say maybe one of my favorite albums from the 80s. I don't know. I'd say probably, yeah. So yeah, I hope that was worth the fine. Here I thought I lost it for a minute, and yeah, apparently I need to keep better track of my stuff and put them in safer locations, it seems. Here we have the U2 album, Achtung Baby, or maybe I'm pronouncing that wrong. It is German for something, but whatever. And I'd say this is probably their best 90s album. Probably it's usually a favorite among many U2 fans, especially fans of their 90s works, because that's when U2 just, you know, they moved on from their 80s sound, they got fun for a little bit. Definitely better than now when they basically sold themselves to Apple, but worth the pickup, I think. This one has no cover. This is the U2 album from 2000. This kicked off their 2000s era, I guess. This is All That You Can't Leave Behind. Yeah, so I guess that's all I have to say about that one. This is quite a little unique one. This is their album, How to Dismantle an Atomic Bomb. This comes after the one I just mentioned about earlier, and this is a special CD and DVD set, it looks like. So here's the CD itself. I'm not going to take it out. I have a little booklet. I think there's some of the lyrics, and when you're probably brainstorming this album, I had it upside down. There we go. Got some nice art in there. And this is the DVD itself. I think it features 3 songs on there, like music videos, and I think a little behind-the-scenes featurette behind the making of the album. So I don't remember where I got this actually, but I don't tend to keep this with my CDs. I do keep it with the my DVD shelf, or used to anyway. But yeah, here's How to Dismantle an Atomic Bomb. Unconventional, but I still think it works. And this is the album No Line on the Horizon. This was the end of their 2000s era. Of course, this used to have a bigger cover. This is the first U2 album I was actually introduced to as a kid. Little tear there, because you know it's seen better days. There are people that, for whatever reason, don't like this album. I can kind of understand it. It's not exactly their best work. This is something my parents picked up. They went to a U2 concert like almost 20 years ago, I think. And this, maybe it was later than that. I don't know. I think this is what, 2009 when this came out. Probably 15, 16, maybe 17 years ago. I don't know when this came out. But they picked this up right after their concert. So, yeah. This is No Line on the Horizon. We have here some Kool and the Gang, if you like your 70s funk. And, I mean, what's not to like about Kool and the Gang? I think you're going to have fun listening to it, whether you like their music or not. So please give Kool and the Gang a listen to, especially if you like the 70s. And speaking of the 70s, we have here the soundtrack to Saturday Night Fever, which I already have on 8-track and vinyl. Maybe I'll find on a cassette someday, you know, get it on a whole variety of formats, but this is the first time I actually picked it up. I listened to the soundtrack like several times before I even watched the movie. It's of course based on. I have the movie now on VHS tape finally, so I have it to own. And this is the first part of the album, first half, and then there's the second half over here. And there's a nice little CDs tend to do this a whole bunch. It's very small, but get a little mini booklet. Tells you what the tracks are. I think it's time now for some big band and swing, which we have right here. This one's simply titled Music from the War Years. Don't feel like this is, there's some Glenn Miller on here, Marlene Dietrich, Irving Berlin, so, yeah, if you like some music that your grandparents and great-grandparents listened to, you can always pick up something like this. This is stuff that would have been popular and sometimes even playing for soldiers back in the World War II era. And we have even more of that. We have the Warriors, specifically just big band. I do like me some big band. It's from the Madison Music Group, printed in Canada. But yeah, so this is part 1. And then we get a second disc. And then we get a third disc. And this I definitely know I picked up at my local thrift store, so listened to this already. Just 2 weeks ago, actually, I think. So I like this CD set. And of course we have even more big bands. We have some swing. It's of course mixed up a little differently than the other set, but yeah. So we have Volume 2. I don't believe I actually listened to this set yet, so maybe I'll listen to it soon. And you know what? I honestly regard this as better music than what we have now. At least this was made by people who actually could play music and, like back in the Beatles days where they would spend weeks just on innovating one song. But I think music back then was better. Music of the 20th century is obviously better than the music we have now. It just, sorry, but it is. Because music from the last decade has kind of sucked. I'm not gonna lie. we have here a Linkin Park album that I made myself. This is Meteora. Hybrid Theory is usually the favorite among fans, although this one's more of a personal favorite for me. And their early 2000s era, their best era, of course. And Linkin Park is, I'm sure, not something you'd expect me to listen to. But I do, and I remember when they were on the radio as well. This is one I made. I'm not sure what your stance is on religious music or not, but your opinion is your own. Your taste in music is, of course, your own. But I myself find myself, I shouldn't say picky, but definitely preferential when it comes to the religious label. There are going to be people who listen to all of it and like it. There are people who primarily just listen to some of the worship stuff they have nowadays, which is fine. I like variety in things, but I do like my select few artists that I do listen to that happen to be on the I guess the religious label, if you consider that. So one that I always grew up with was a band called the Newsboys. This is their album from 1992, Not Ashamed. This one I played on cassette over and over and over and over and over again for many, many summers. I'm surprised that tape hasn't broke, actually, so this is why I made myself a CD copy. I think even specifically ripped from the tape, and I separated the tracks and everything, but yeah, so this is made from me, not the official release. What our official releases are their Liberty Disco album from 1999, when Peter Furler took over. You can see the disc there. This is their album Thrive from, I believe, 2002. I think my parents got this, if I remember correctly, after I was born. Because I would have been born in 2002. I'm an '02 baby. Again, I do have actually more CDs from the Newsboys, but a lot of them are ones I personally ripped from the internet, and I'm not going to do handmade ones. As you can see, this one's in pieces, but it's just one of their worship albums, so, I mean, at least it isn't something that's, like, you know, one of my favorites or something, then I'd really be sad. And this is just another one. Why is it always the worship ones? Yeah, at least they ain't my favorite ones. These are technically my parents. I probably should put this downstairs with their stuff where it actually belongs. This is their album Go. This is the one from 2006. Yeah, 2006 that I do remember was usually on repeat. Back in the day, I think this one was played quite a lot in the house. At least when I was growing up. My sister's not so much of a Newsboys person. She prefers Toby Mac, if you've heard of him. But now I think the remainder of stuff is going to be, I'd say, pretty much miscellaneous. Again, more internet stuff. This is from the band The Smiths, which I think is one of the greatest bands of all time, or one of my favorite bands from the 1980s anyway. Very, very, very underrated, and this is an older mixtape I made from years ago when I first discovered them. I think it was 2018 when I first started listening to them. Please just listen to The Smiths. You don't have to like their music. Again, your opinion is your own, but quite honestly, they just have great stuff. This is one that used to be in my dad's, this used to be in the Stratus, I think, when we had that, a Dodge Stratus. Or maybe it was his other one, I don't remember. Anyway, this is called the Mitsubishi Mix. I don't know where he got this, and honestly, I don't think he even remembers where it came from either. But there's a great number of songs on here. from, Wise Guys and Space Hog, Average White Band, and even got a little Iggy Pop and Curtis Mayfield on here. If I could describe this is sort of, I guess, I want to say what a 90s alternative rock mixed with a little 70s funk. It's quite a combination, but I really like it, and the sound just pops on it. It does say Volume 1, I think, on here somewhere. Maybe on the side here, if you can read, it says Volume 1 on it. So there is a Volume 2, I think, somewhere. I can't find it. Hopefully it has some more good stuff. And we have here music mixed from the Lord of the Rings and Hobbit movies. If you like watching those or listening to those soundtracks, pretty great soundtrack to those movies. So I made that one. Another one I made is some Beastie Boys, because I do like my Beastie Boys. I don't listen to them as much as I used to in my teen years, but I do love me some Beastie Boys. And ironically enough, I'm sure this is quite a contrast compared to some of the, I guess, religious entries I have on here, but we do have the Green Day album, American Idiot, from, I think, 2004? Yeah, 2004. Something I think my parents could probably didn't really care for when they saw that I had this. It does have that parental advisory explicit content on here. Probably because of the cussing and maybe the nature of the songs, but yep, yeah, they're probably because of the cussing, I'm gonna imagine, but whatever. I don't really listen to Green Day as often as I used to, but I still have it. John Mellencamp, if you remember him from the 80s and a little bit into the 90s. This is the album The Best I Could Do, which has some stuff from 1978 to 1988, so about a decade's worth. And if you like John Mellencamp, then this is the album for you. And I don't know what it is, I just sort of associate John Mellencamp with about spring and early summer for whatever reason. I seem to have always listened to John Mellencamp about the April or May-ish. So every time it gets to that time of year, the CD usually gets broken out. So yep, there's some John Cougar Mellencamp. What is this? Oh yes, I remember. I mixed some of my favorite songs on the CD. This is about the last time that I burned stuff onto a CD. I haven't really done that in forever, really. I think this is some of the last stuff I did. This contains about some of my 15 and 16 favorite songs of all time. So I kind of figured if I'm going to make a CD, why not have it be of your favorite stuff? This is the marching band I was in, recorded November 2nd, 2017. I actually remember when they recorded stuff that day. And my band director's name was Arthur Belfiore. We just called him Mr. B. I played... It was a fake drum that year, because we had so many drummers, and they called it the alto drum. What it really was just an old snare, and it had the bottom taken out. It sort of sounded like a tenor drum, and it just sounded a bit out of tune, but whatever. But anyway... that was the Heroes and Villains year, so we opened with Raiders of the Lost Ark, and we had as our ballad the Imperial March, which we also did a teensy bit of the previous year, our Space the Final Frontier year. We did Star Wars and Star Trek music along with Gustav Holst's The Planets in there. And for our closer, what did we have for the closer? It was... Game of Thrones, because that was popular at the time. And then we had a little drum solo, and then we went into the Batman 1989 theme from the Michael Keaton movies. That was our closer, and then it also has some of our fight songs and other tunes. We get our Alma Mater, Star Spangled Banner, Huskies fight song, because our high school mascot was the Husky. Na Na Hey Hey, YMCA, Hawaii Five-O. The Horse, which is something many, many marching bands I'm sure have played, is The Horse. We get Buttercup, Sweet Caroline. This is a track I skip, even though it's only like 38 seconds, because I hate the Sweet Caroline song. I think it is one of the most overrated and overplayed songs of all time. I can't stand Sweet Caroline. So when I learned that this was picked for that year, I wasn't exactly happy, but yeah, at least we could skip this track. And got Rock Lobster, Blues Brothers, 13. We just took that from our fight song. It was measure 13 to the very end. So just very specific. And then we got number 1. That was something else we played. Let's Go Black. That was another fight song we played. I have Eye of the Tiger. Not quite as bad as Sweet Caroline, but I think Eye of the Tiger is a bit overplayed as well. Go Huskies, another fight song. Jaws, Dragnet, Batman. That was a shorter version of Batman 1989. And of course, our penalty cheer. So this is our CD that we recorded that year. I don't think we did CDs ever again. I think we recorded our show the 2018 year, but I don't remember getting a CD for it. So I think this is the only year we did it. So yeah, I usually bring this out in case I want a little dose of nostalgia, because I do feel nostalgic for my old high school band on occasion. And I just learned yesterday, actually, that my band director is, I would say rather abruptly, retiring in May. When I heard he was retiring, I thought, oh, he's going to be doing one more year, and then he's going to leave. Because it would have been, 35 years he would have been, teaching band. But no, it's like he's leaving in May. And yeah, had any of us known that, maybe the most recent year we did last season would have hit a little harder. But yeah, so it's getting a little cracked. It's getting a little worn. We have some Simon and Garfunkel here. If you like your Simon and Garfunkel, what's nice here is it lists the tracks and then the album it's released from. Some of them are, this one for Emily, wherever I may find her, it's apparently it's a live one for whatever reason. That's from, it's just a single apparently. I'm not as big of a fan as live albums. I think they're okay, but I personally would rather listen to, there we go, I can get this out finally, the real actual tune itself. Not performed live, the studio recording. But there's only a few live tracks on here. As far as live albums I used to have Elvis's Afternoon in the Garden. One from, oh, good grief, I don't know what I did with it. I used to have that, but I guess I don't anymore. Continuing on the stuff I made myself. I have to turn it upside down here. This is the soundtrack to Star Trek I, the motion picture. This is the first Star Trek movie. First time Jerry Goldsmith composed for Star Trek. So, and of course we have here the Beatles. This is the White Album. This is the first time I've owned the White Album. I also have it on the original vinyl, believe it or not, which is, I think, pretty spectacular. Somehow Mike Graham had the White Album and gave it to me, so it's pretty nice. It has some of the lyrics here on the back, and then some art and miscellaneous pictures here on the on this side. Of course, we have the 2 CDs to play this. What's over here? With John Lennon. Oh, just more lyric stuff, little historical notes. I remember when the first time I listened to the White Album, I wasn't exactly that fond of it. Now it's grown to be one of my favorite Beatles albums of all time, so it's really just something that I've grown to appreciate over the years, even if it maybe runs a tad bit, just a teensy bit too long. But other than that, I think I've grown to appreciate it. We have here a 2 CD mix, best of the 50s. So if you like some 50s bop and rock and roll, then this is the CD set for you. And I picked this up at the sale barn as well. I remember listening to it the first time. The sound is just spectacular. I don't know what it is with this set in particular, but the sound is just so fantastic. It's just wonderful to listen to. Here we have the Sting album. It's just the best of Sting. I think my parents had this on cassette once. I don't know if Mom still has it anymore. But this is Sting in his solo career. I think I've listened to this album maybe once. Can't say I listened to Sting's regular stuff as much as the Police stuff. I do really like the Police. If I can just get this back in here, there we go. Okie dokie. Here's the Nirvana album in utero. Discounting their greatest hits stuff. This is, I believe, the last album they made before Kurt Cobain died, or depending on who you talk to, they think Courtney Love actually had him killed. But, whatever. I ain't no conspiracy theorist, so take of it what you will. So this is in utero. This was... I have a friend that really likes 90s rock, and this is, I think, one of his favorite albums of all time, or at least it was years ago. This album was also controversial because of the song Rape Me. Not exactly what you think, but that was enough for reissues of the album. Apparently they had to disguise it so it said like Waif Me or something, but then it just sounded silly. So, yeah, it was also controversial for that reason, too. I think we'll finish off now with some Bon Jovi's Greatest Hits album. This has got stuff from his 80s and 90s and 2000s, I believe, when... I don't know if he stopped making music. I don't know when he finished, but disc 2 has a lot of his later stuff, and disc 1 has a lot of his earlier stuff. Makes sense anyway. I know he did a little bit of country for a while, or maybe he still does. I don't know. So if you're a Bon Jovi fan, and this album is for you. And I think we'll finish with that because that's about all we got. I don't believe there is anything else in here. So we'll just leave it at that. Otherwise, I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for tuning in to 20th Century Dude once again. Hope to catch you on the fly. See you later.